Namaste. The SSLC examination is round about the corner. In Kerala, it has been a general trend that the public gives that much of importance to the SSLC examination. Mind it, this year we have a changed curriculum. So naturally, the students, the teachers and the parents are a little bit more concerned about the examination. In this particular session, we are going to analyze the SSLC examination English. The total score is 80. The type of questions that are repeatedly asked, I am damn sure you know about it. Analyzing textual passages, analyzing textual poems, analyzing unfamiliar passages, constructing discourses, information transfer, language elements. All the questions will be focused on these categories. Believe it or not, 50% of the questions will be from discourse category, or rather constructing discourses. I should say these are the important discourses a secondary student is expected to get familiarized with during his stay in the secondary stage. Notice, poster, placard, slogan, drafting conversation, speech, profile, thought, character sketch, advertisements, etc. etc. Today, we are going to focus on some of these discourses as time permits and find out how questions from them will be incorporated in the question paper. The course book contains 5 units. Each unit contains at least 2 prose content matter. In fact, one of them is extremely important as far as the examination point of view is concerned. Let me just show before you the important prose sections from where the bulk of discourse based questions will be asked. I did not mention that the other prose texts are not important, but still Wonka, Project Tiger, The Best Investment I Ever Made, The Scholarship Jacket and Adolf are the prose texts from where lion's share of discourses will be focused upon. Now, let us have a glimpse of each of these prose lessons. Wonka, it's a touching story written by the pioneer short story writer from Russia, Anton P. Chekhov. Wonka describes the story of a forlorn, orphaned boy from Russia whose parents had been dead long ago, and after that he had been taken care by his grandfather. The grandfather had actually taken him and apprenticed him under a shoemaker. But the life of a Wonka under the shoemaker is not that much happy. In fact, he has to suffer a lot. The shoemaker suffers him or tortures him a lot. So naturally, Wonka, the 9-year-old child, in a Christmas evening, he sits, writes a letter to his grandfather, pleading him to take him away from this hell of torture. In fact, actually, the dismal life of Wonka is a representation of the universal plight of orphans all over the world. Now, the second unit, namely the Project Tiger, is a memoir by Satyajit Ray, the premier filmmaker from Bengal. In fact, it describes, the particular lesson describes the stress and strains, maybe the pleasures and pains of Satyajit Ray while shooting, of course, the scenes involved with a tiger. Now, the third unit contains one of the best stories, one of the best short stories ever written in world literature, maybe the icing on the cake of the whole text, The Best Investment I Ever Made. The particular short story is a timely warning against the consumption of narcotics. In fact, the story describes, or in the story, Archibald Joseph Cronin describes how a humble act of his had resulted in transforming the life of a delinquent, maladjusted, youth in fact. And the lesson also, of course it's an anecdote, the lesson also tells us the universal fact that the virtues that one cherishes in one's life are the best investment he has got in his life. In the fourth unit, we have another touching story by Martha Salinas. In this particular story, we find how the dreams of a Mexico Negro girl were shattered and how they were revived or restored later in fact. In the fifth unit, we find Adolf. It's a fictionalized real-life portrayal of D.H. Lawrence on his childhood experiences of rearing an orphaned wild baby rabbit. Actually, the story beautifully recreates in the classroom the learner's experiences with pets at home. Mind it, these are the important sections or prose sections from where a lion's share of the discourses can be expected from. Now, we shall go into the discourse activities that are incorporated from each of these lessons. The first discourse I would like to introduce is letter writing. As you all know, letter is the most natural of all discourses. Every letter has got a stamp of intimacy inbuilt in them, and moreover, the language expressed in the letter, of course, it is so close to the heart in fact, right? Now we shall look into certain criteria that makes a good letter. Language is suitable for the occasion, organization of ideas, accuracy of vocabulary, and maintaining proper format. Now, I am introducing before you a particular letter discourse that we can, of course, get from the first unit. Of course, you have seen how Wonka had poured out his feelings in the letter to his grandpa. After going through the letter, suppose the grandpa replies to it, how will it be? Well, it's an informal letter. Of course, you know, letters are broadly classified into two sections such as formal letters and informal letters, and this appears to be in that informal category. Even if, of course, it's an informal letter, we have to conform to certain connotations or conform to certain rules. Even in the case of informal letters. In the case of formal letters, you have got a certain rigid practices, but not that much in the case of an informal letter. An informal letter starts with a place and date, or maybe date and address of the center on the right side top. Then you will have the salutation, my dear Wonka. It's a salutation here. Then we have got the conventional introductory statements. Got your letter. I am so disappointed to hear that you are not doing well. So this is, the purpose is different in fact. That's why the grandfather is writing in this fashion. Now come to the body of the letter. My dear, let me tell you that life is like that. It's a bed filled with roses and thorns. I have apprenticed you under Eliakim for good reasons. I wanted you to learn a trade which will help you later in life. I have taken you to a place where you can at least have 3 meals a day. That in fact is a luxury if you compare it with the suffering millions around you. Try to adjust with these little problems now. It will make you smile later. I will come to see you soon. Then comes the leave-taking phrase. Here it is, lovingly yours, after which you can put your signature and a name and address. So this is actually the model letter I want to show before you. Now you can have some other possibilities. Of course, these are letter possibilities that can come from other units. Wonka describes his miseries to his intimate friends. Definitely he can pour out his feelings in a letter written to one of his friends. Now, as a friend of Wonka, you write a letter to the child protection authorities dealing Wonka's miseries. Of course, the type of letter here differs. It is very much a formal letter. Now, from the second unit, Satyajit Ray letters to his friend the sensational experiences of shooting with the tiger. And from the third unit, Cronin informs his wife about his strange meeting with John in a letter. And from the from the fourth unit, being a friend of Martha, you send her a letter congratulating her on her stupendous achievement. And from the fourth unit itself, you can have another letter. Martha might have missed the jacket between the cup and the lip. Suppose she expresses herself in a letter to her friends, how will it be? So these are the possible letter possibilities in fact. Now we shall cross over to another discourse, making diaries in fact. As you all know, diary is very much a personal discourse. Personal in the sense, I write my diary for me to read it. I don't want my diary to be even seen by others. So it is extremely personal in fact. So it is a record of one's own personal reflection. When it becomes very personal, the language is so informal and it is in the narrative mold. A diary is an expression of thought and feel, and one need not have to follow the hard-fast rules while writing diaries, and need not be full-fledged sentences that we expect in diaries. And another, maybe the most important thing as far as diary writing is concerned, I should say, more than what happened, how you felt at what happened is the most important thing. More than what happened, how you felt at what happened makes the core of the diary in fact. So more than the event, the reaction to the event is the important thing as far as writing the diary is concerned. Now you can actually start diaries with certain general statements or general comments on that particular day as you think. You can start with it was a good day, it was a bad day, or it was a terrible day, it was a day in which so many unexpected things had poured in such a way. The diary can be, of course, once again let me be very specific that there are no hard fast rules regarding this, but these things can be followed in the examination point of view in fact. And of course a diary can include, or you may actually include, different kinds of sentences in diaries in fact. There can be subject, a verb object construction. You can begin with gerunds, you can begin with of course infinitives, and you can have of course exclamatory sentences, and you can just ask questions, and it can be put down in diaries in fact. So imperative sentences also can figure in diaries. So let there be a whirlpool of feelings, emotions, thoughts in diaries. Here I am going to introduce before you a diary possibility. Satyajit Ray had an unsuccessful tiger shoot at Northampton. Naturally, Ray was depressed and he expressed his feelings in a diary. How will it be? Of course, you start with date and day. See, this is for examination's sake. You start with a date and day. Then there is a general statement about the mood of the writer, how he looks at the day in fact. What a disturbing day it was. Nothing went as planned. Mr. Trott, as promised, came with tigers. Two well-fed, robust tigers. The cage was opened. Oh, a total unexpected thing happened. The tiger stormed out, not at all obeying to the commands. It leapt, rolled, and dragged the poor trainer all around. Simply embarrassed, we all were. Thank God, after some time, the tiger calmed down. Then somehow we shot what we wanted. Later in the day, I went through the shots. What a pity! Nothing clear. Light was of very poor quality. No other options. I have to reshoot everything. Got to hell. Look at the last statement. Of course, it's a cursing word. Such cursing words expresses the turbulent, troublesome emotions that Satyajit Ray might have felt. Maybe after toiling for such a long time, he couldn't get the result. So the depressed condition of Satyajit Ray is being expressed through those words. In fact, go to hell. See, there are other diary possibilities too. Vanka's diary on the day he wrote the letter. Grandpa's diary on the day he got the letter. Then again from Satyajit Ray's lesson, Ray's diary on visiting the circus troupe. Cronin's diary when he met John S. on the ship deck, and Jonas' diary also can be expected. Cronin's or Jonas' diary on the foggy night. Of course, the foggy night, it was a very eventful night. It was on this particular night Jonas tried to commit suicide, and he was rescued by Archibald Joseph Cronin. Martha's diary, realizing that she was not going to get the jacket. And the principal's diary. Of course, principal is a major character in that particular story, scholar's jacket, scholarship jacket in fact, because he is in a dilemma. He wanted to give the scholarship jacket to Martha, but maybe out of compulsion he wanted to change his decisions and asked Martha to pay for the scholarship jacket. But later he just corrected himself. So he must have actually felt a lot of emotional battles on that day. So his diary also can be asked. Then D.H. Lawrence's diary on the day they got Adolf. Of course, the whole family was at the seventh heaven of delight when they got Adolf, the small rabbit. Diary on the day they parted Adolf. It was with so much of pain that they had to part with Adolf. Then on the day Adolf moved himself, confirming he would live. Of course, so these are some possible diary chances. Now we shall cross over to another discourse, maybe a very popular discourse, and it for general purpose that we use it quite often, how to make or how to draft notices. Now there are different types of notices in fact. Function notice, lost or found a notice, instruction notice, then for sale or for wanted advertisement notices. So these are of course different categories of notices. And as far as the examination point of view is concerned, you are repeatedly asked the function notice. Of course, as regard to your continuous evaluation program, there may be some program conducted in your school. So that program has to be made familiarized to the students. For this particular purpose, you are expected to construct notices in fact. Before constructing a notice, you should bear in mind certain salient features of notices. Any notice is an official proclamation. Of course, notice has got an officiality inbuilt in it. Then appropriate layout, format makes the notice very authoritative. Of course, notice has got an authority of its own. When you draft function notices, it is so mandatory that details such as date, time, venue have to be incorporated in fact. So remind it, notice is an official proclamation. Now I shall of course give you a possible notice question in fact. The social service club of your school is conducting an awareness program against drug addiction. Prepare a notice for the same. So a function is being conducted and you will have to popularize the function, For that particular purpose, you are drafting a notice. Let us see how it works. See, it's a function notice, so you can have a general heading for notices, such as in capitals we can make it as notice. Can be a general head that can be applicable for all notices. Then you can have another heading also, title also, specifically stating what is the program. Here it is, awareness against drug addiction. Then in notice you can have the salutation. Here it is, friends. We know that drug is a silent killer. Drug addiction has become one of the major dangers of the present younger generation faces. It is a responsibility of every responsible citizen to fight against drugs. See the structure of these three sentences. Of course, the first three sentences of the notice, it indicates the relative importance of the program. The program is important. Of course, that is why you conduct it, and that is why you want to make it popularized. So the importance of the program, the relevance of the program has to be stated in notice, for which you can of course use 2 or 3 sentences. Then comes maybe the most important statement of the notice. With this view, it has been decided to conduct an awareness program under the auspices of the Social Service Club of the Nair Samajam Girls High School, Mannar, on 16th February 2017 at 11 a.m. in the school conference hall. Mind it, the most important sentence of the notice, it describes what is conducted, who conducts it, when it is conducted, where it is conducted, at what time it is being conducted. So many WH questions are being answered in that particular sentence. That's why we just mentioned that it is the core of the notice. Then the Honorable District Medical Officer Sri N. Rajan has kindly consented to inaugurate the program. So you introduced maybe the chief guest, maybe the person who inaugurates it. Now, as the last sentence of the notice, you can make a formal invitation. You are cordially invited, or your presence is cordially solicited. In some way, you can end the notice. Then there can be signature, and in notices, we don't generally add the name of the person. Instead, we just make it the designation of the person. Of course, that's the better practice, in fact. And the notice may have place and date as well. So this is how we construct notices. And other notice possibilities that can be expected from the other units are: notice for the film fest conducted at your school as part of your continuous evaluation activity. Of course, you can conduct a film fest, so prepare a notice for the same. Then the fourth unit, we have seen Martha being given congratulations. So Martha is awarded the scholarship jacket. Prepare a notice inviting all. Then the last lesson, as well as the second lesson, of course, deals in detail about how inhuman we are to animals at times, in fact. Animals are treated with no humanitarian consideration at all. Draft a notice for a seminar conducted on this issue. Then the class conducts a seminar on child labor. Prepare a notice. So these are the possible notice chances we can expect.